Welcome back. All right, it is Friday night. It is time to do the review, and it's only 9:02 at night. So I'm kind of happy, and there's no 10 a.m. game tomorrow, so scheduling's not too shabby. All right, we'll start things off looking at the global series, Pittsburgh and Nashville. It still gets its own board, just not its own video. She Loves versus Saros in this one. Scrambly back and forth start to this one. Graves has a chance to block or decide. Hayes has a rush chance that's held. The Penguins press at 4.5 minutes. The shots are 3-1 for Pittsburgh, 6 minutes in. The Penguins draw a power play. Malkin has a net feed that's picked off. Puck's cleared out. There's a shorthanded breakaway by Howla. That's saved. So the Penguins didn't have a shot on the power play, but Howla had the shorthanded breakaway chance. So Nashville outplayed Pittsburgh on that power play, which, considering the Pittsburgh power play coming into this, a little bit of a surprise there. Pressed by the Preds with 7 minutes left. The shots are 7-6 for Nashville with 4 minutes left. Good forechecking by the Predators. Mantha has a rush that's broken up by Stastny with 1:02 left. Nashville goes to the power play. They cycle. Puck's cleared out. Period's done. It is scoreless after the first period. Second period, Penguins finish the kill. Brief press by Nashville after it's done. Brady Shea has a wrister that's caught and held. Most of the first few minutes are spent in the Penguin zone, so much better start for Nashville here. Rust is denied on a tic-tac-toe play. Pittsburgh then draws a power play. There's an early clear. There's another. That power play is killed off. Barron is robbed on a breakaway out of the box. So not only did Pittsburgh's power play not score today, but there was the shorthanded breakaway, and then the player coming out of the box on the second power play, he had to be denied on that. The Penguins press at 8 minutes. Crosby has a net feed that's blocked. Shots are 7-1 Nashville at 9.5 minutes. Perbix has a shot that's blocked. Riley's denied as Nashville gets some pressure. And the Penguins were stuck on one shot for a while. And then their second shot goes in at 13:39. Malkin banks one in from behind the net. Just kind of one of those bank shots you go for. Banks it in off of Saros into the net. Dumba with the assist. It's 1-0 Pittsburgh in a game that Nashville was really controlling to that point in the period. The teams trade turnovers. There's a press by Nashville with 4 minutes left. More pressure by the Preds with a minute and a half left. Forsberg hits the outside of the net, and then Forsberg has a wrister that's kicked aside. It's 1-0 Pittsburgh after two, even though they've been outshot 20-10 by that point. Third period, Wolsby has a shot that's blocked as the Preds get some pressure early on. Then there's a post for Evangelista on a rush. Preds had the only shot that had hit the net 5 minutes into the period. Graves has a deflected shot that's kicked aside. The Penguins press at 6.5 minutes. They're kept to the outside. Rust has a slot chance that's saved. The Penguins building some momentum, but the shots are only 2 apiece 9.5 minutes in. Pressed by Nashville with 7.5 minutes left, or pressed by the Penguins at the half. Mantha has a net drive chance that's held. Then there's a press by Nashville with 7.5 minutes left. Rust has a chance that's held. Stamkos to Howla, near miss at the Pittsburgh net. Rust has a net drive that's saved. The goalie pull happens with 1:15 left. The Preds call a timeout, and it works. At 18:50, technically Nashville loses the faceoff, but Forsberg charges through, grabs the puck, and puts it backhand top shelf. So great play there by Forsberg. Kopanen then has a rush chance that's held. It's 1-1. We're going to overtime. The Preds control early. Forsberg's denied on a fast break. And then at 43 seconds, Stamkos buries one on a rush. He goes far corner from the right circle. Brady Shea with the assist. So Stamkos seems to be heating up. That's his fourth goal of the season. And Nashville wins this one in overtime 2-1. So chess magnets on the board. Shots on net, 8 apiece in the first, 12-2 Nashville in the second, 8-7 Nashville in the third, and Nashville had both shots in the overtime, including the shot that matters. Final shots, 30-17 for Nashville. Power plays, Pittsburgh 0-2, Nashville 0-1. The hits, 17-10 for Nashville. She Loves, 28 saves on 30 shots, and Saros, 16 saves on 17 shots. All right, now let's take a look at the other three games that took place today. All right, Vancouver and Carolina as we move on to the other board for tonight. And then, of course, the standings lurk behind this. Lankinen versus Kochetkov. No Quinn Hughes for the Canucks tonight. I thought that showed. Stankoven has a rush chance that's denied. And then at 2:45, on their first shot, Vancouver scores. Sasson puts one through. Kochetkov on a rush. McEachern and Carlson with the assists. So some Abbotsford flavor to that goal, and it's 1-0 Vancouver. Canes press to respond, and they do. At 4:20. I'm just pausing for the laughter. It's not quite we are only in November. At any rate, Svechnikov would score on a tic-tac-toe play after a turnover by Tyler Myers. The assist to Aho and Jarvis makes it 1-1. Jarvis was down on a play soon after. Svechnikov hits a stick near his eye. They did call a penalty on the play on Vancouver for a cross-check. There really wasn't much there, but it wasn't for the high stick, and it was friendly fire on the high stick. Jarvis would not return to the game. Based on how he was on the ice, it had to have made contact with either the eyelid underneath. I don't know if it contacted his eye or not, but that level of distress has to be alarming for Canes fans and just hockey fans in general. Nobody wants to see Jarvis in that kind of distress. So the Canes get that power play, and it takes 5 seconds for them to score on it. Svechnikov at 5:14, Gostisbehere and Ehlers with the assists. The Canes then go back to the power play looking for a 3-1 lead against a very porous penalty kill for Vancouver. However, at 9:14, Elias Pettersson steals it, wires it, scores his 4th goal of the season, and that was only the 3rd shot on net for Vancouver. So we have a 2-2 tie, and both goaltenders struggling to make the saves early on here. Canucks finish the kill. The Canes press with 9 minutes left. The teams trade turnovers and rushes. Carrier, Kent-Barry won on close. Shots are 6-4 for Carolina with 4 minutes left. And after 2 periods of play, the score is tied at 2. Second period, Keandre Miller's denied as the Canes press. Canes are controlling in the early minutes, but Vancouver would get a power play, and they score on it. At 3:13, it's a cross-ice pass, and in Garland scoring from Besser and Pettersson. So Pettersson with a goal and an assist in this game, and so it's a 3-2 lead for Vancouver. Canucks press at 5 minutes. Hall is denied in close as the Canes get some pressure. Then there's a near miss for Stankoven from the doorstep. The offensive zone penalty that Blake takes leads to a bunch of booing. However, that power play is killed off. No shots on net for Vancouver during that. Shots are 9-6 for Carolina with 9 minutes left. Aho has a net drive that's stick to side. Gostisbehere is a one-timer that's held. Canes are really controlling late, and there's a post for Gostisbehere as it just remains all Carolina, but it's 3-2 in favor of Vancouver after 2. Third period. Canes pick up where they left off, but they're not getting shots on net. In fact, 3.5 minutes in, the Canucks had the only shot on net. Canes press at 5.5 minutes. Kane has a rush that's defended, and then at 6:26, Hall. It's a cross-ice pass and in. It's a turnover goal. Hall ties the game from Gostisbehere and Svechnikov, so that makes it a 3-3 tie. Canes press for the lead. There's more pressure by Carolina at 9 minutes. Martinook has a net drive that saves. Shots are 7-4 for Carolina with 4.5 minutes left. Svechnikov went for the Michigan too. It's blocked, but he tried the Michigan. More pressure by Carolina in the final minute, but we're going to overtime, which was popular today. Canucks control early. There was booing because the Canucks ragged the puck for about the first half of overtime, about 2.5 minutes. They didn't get much accomplished out of it, though. Like, I kept thinking, all right, they're setting up. They've been setting up for a while. There's got to be something epic. Nope. Gostisbehere steals to get a change for Carolina. Ehlers has a wrister that's held, and then at 4:29, Aho buries a wrister from the slot. Gostisbehere with the assist. It's a 4-3 overtime win for Carolina over Vancouver. Shots on net, 8-4 Carolina in the first, 18-8 Carolina in the second, 8-4 Carolina in the third, and they outshoot Vancouver 4-1 in the overtime. Final shots are 38-17 for Carolina. The score was close, the game was not. The power plays 1 for 2 each. The hits 25-21 Vancouver. Lankinen was excellent. After a shaky start, he was excellent the rest of the way. 34 saves on 38 shots. Kochetkov 14 saves on 17 shots at the other end. All right, moving along. The Philadelphia Flyers and the St. Louis Blues, the game where all the goals reside. Ersson versus Binnington, story checks out. 1:19 in, St. Louis gets the party started. On a turnover, Kyrou buries one from the right circle, makes it 1-0 for St. Louis. Shots are 2-0 for the Blues, 4.5 minutes in. Snuggerud has a slot shot, that's held. And then at 8:18 on a 3-on-2 rush, Zegras scores to tie the game at 1. Dvorak and Sanheim with the assists. If Zegras starts figuring out the goal scoring, he's getting the points, but if he starts figuring out the goals, he could be quite the pickup. Like Cutter Gauthier going to Anaheim, it's a huge boost for Anaheim with Gauthier, but Zegras has been a huge boost for Philly. It's almost like trades work. The Flyers press for the lead. However, at 9:42, Snuggerud roofs one to give St. Louis the lead back. The assist to Thomas. The Blues press with 5.5 minutes left. They're kept to the outside. Suter has a wrister from the slot. That's held. The Blues press to close it out, and they're leading 2-1 after the first. Second period, early power play for St. Louis. Holloway can't bury one in close. Power play's killed off. 2 shots on net. Shots are 3-2 for the Flyers at 5 minutes. The Blues press at 6 minutes. And at 6:54, it's a one-timer on a face-off win. Falk gets the goal. Fowler and Sundqvist with the assists. So for Cam Fowler, that is point number 500 in his National Hockey League career. Maybe they celebrated too much. I don't know. But that 3-1 lead gets halved at 7:17. So 23 seconds later, the Flyers score. It's Dvorak bearing a rebound in the crease. The assist to Tippett and Andre. So 3-2. Teams trade rushes and turnovers. The Blues press with 8.5 minutes left. They're kept to the outside. The Flyers draw a power play, and they showed the penalty kill percentage. And you know where they're supposed to have the decimal? Whoever put in where the decimal was, they put in a 0. So it showed that the penalty killing percentage for the Blues was 6,908%. Which I think is pretty impressive. I don't know what everybody's complaining about it for. Then they kill off the Flyers power play for 1 shot, so I think now it has to be 6,909% on the penalty kill. That's really good. If you can kill 6,000 out of 100 penalties, that's not too shabby. Then, all kidding aside, at 18:24, Philly would tie this. Zegras, it's a point shot that's tipped in to tie it. Zegras tipping it in. Andre and Tippett with the assist at 18:24, so Tippett he did. And we have a 3-3 tie after the second. Third period, St. Louis scores early for the second time in 3 periods. At 40 seconds, it's Holloway with a wrister from the left circle. Kyrou and Fowler with the assists. Flyers press at 3 minutes. The Blues get pinned down. They're not finding a path to the net until at 4:56, Thomas on a pass from behind the net. Nice pass by Snuggerud to set that up. And we have a 5-3 lead for St. Louis. Blues fans are happy. There's a lot of singing. There's a lot of bells going off because you get a bell for every goal in St. Louis. Not too bad. Blues look for another. The shots are 4-2 in favor of St. Louis at 7 minutes. But at 7:53, Dvorak roofs one. It's a turnover, and it cost him the assist to Tippett. We're seeing a lot of goals off turnovers today. Kyrou fires one wide on a rush, and then at 10:27, the Flyers tie it. Tippett with a one-timer from the high slot. Zegras and Juleson with the assists. The Blues would press with 6 minutes left, and then it was just quiet the rest of the way because we were going to overtime. The overtime, the Blues control early. There's a glove save on Fowler. There's a penalty shot for Zegras. That was saved. I was pretty sure that was going in because Zegras has a fantastic shootout record. And a penalty shot's like a shootout attempt. Brinks denies the Flyers control. York's then denied via a 2-on-1 rush. So it was a strong overtime for Binnington to get us to the shootout. But in the shootout, it's Zegras. Zegras has the best shooting percentage in the shootout, I think, of any player with a minimum of 20 shot attempts in shootouts. I do believe Zegras has the highest percentage of goals in National Hockey League history. Just ridiculous. 6-5 shootout victory for the Philadelphia Flyers in this one. So the 80s Magnets on the board. Shots on net, 8 apiece in the first, 11-4 Philly in the second, 6-4 Philly in the third, 6-1 Flyers in the overtime. Final shots 31-17 for Philly. Power plays, both teams go 0 for 1. The hits 20-18 for St. Louis. Ersson, 12 saves on 17 shots. Binnington, 26 saves on 31 shots. All right. And the last game we're going to talk about is the Islanders and Utah as the Islanders road trip continues. Riddick versus Vejmelka in this one. There's a kick save on Keller. Really strong start for Utah. The Mammoth are leading in shots 4-2, 2.5 minutes in. I think they had 7 shots in the first 5 minutes, something along those lines. Things get pushed in a hole by Riddick, and Utah comes out with a power play. Then there's an offensive zone penalty by Logan Cooley just 18 seconds into the power play to make it 1 minute and 42 seconds of 4-on-4. During the 4-on-4, the Islanders get on the board. At 7:13, it's Heineman. He bats in a net feed after a face-off win in the Utah end. Romanov and D'Angelo with the assists, so the Islanders are ahead 1-0. Utah presses at 9 minutes. There's a crossbar for Cooley on a rebound. The shots are 10-3 for Utah with 8 minutes left. And then at 13:02, it's a net feed tipped in by Peterka. Peterka scores from Krause and Marino. We then get a power play for the Islanders. That's killed off with 2:11 left. Mammoth get a power play. And it becomes 1 minute and 53 seconds of 5-on-3. That's just too much. They talked up a lot about how getting a power play goal is really important, and it's really, it's great, and this will get the power play going. And I was thinking, yeah, it was a 5-on-3 for a minute and 53 seconds. It's more embarrassing if you don't get the goal there. At 18:35, it's a 5-on-3 goal. It's Gunther with a one-timer from the left circle, Sergachev and Keller with the assists. Now, the Islanders do kill off the 5-on-4, but it's 2-1 Utah after the first period. Second period, Barzal has a wraparound chance that's blocked. Very quiet start to this period. Only one shot each at 4.5 minutes. Cooley can't bury a one-timer. The Mammoth press at 7 minutes. Keller has a rush chance that saved. 30 minutes into this game, the Islanders had 7 shots. So, not optimal for the Islanders at that point. New York draws a power play. Palmieri's denied. The rebound's cleared. That power play's killed off. The Islanders press with 7 minutes left. Schaefer has a wrister that's blocked out. Cooley has a chance that's held as the Mammoth gets some pressure later in the period. 3:05 left. It's a power play for Utah. That is killed off. Pollock has a shot that's blocked as the Islanders get some pressure late, but it stays 2-1 for Utah after 2. Third period, Mammoth draw a power play. That's killed off as well. So after the 5-on-3 goal, that penalty kill for the Islanders was pretty darn good. Schmidt has a chance that deflects wide shortly thereafter, and they didn't get any shots on the power play. The shots are 2-0 for the Islanders at 5 minutes. Post for Cooley is the Mammoth press. We then get another power play for Utah. Cooley has a net drive that's blocked. That power play's killed off as well. The Islanders then get a power play of their own. That leads to a shorthanded chance for Stenlund. That saved, and Stenlund threw a huge hit in that third period that got the crowd on their feet too. That power play is killed off. Shots are 4-3 Islanders at 7.5 minutes. So the Islanders score, but it was kicked in. So immediately the referee's like, nope. And then the replay showed, whoops. And as soon as I saw the replay, I'm like, that's going to count. Because it was Utah that knocked it into the net. So if a Utah stick comes in and plays the puck and knocks it into the net, the weird part to me is, last I looked at my phone, it didn't show own goal. It should show own goal, and in that case, the assists come off the board. So the last time I looked, it still says at 13:44, Drouin from Holmstrom and D'Angelo, but that I think will get changed to own goal, which would take the assists off the board and just credit Drouin with the goal, as he was the one that kicked the puck before the Utah defenseman put it in his own net. Mammoth press with 4.5 minutes left. In other words, if Utah just let the puck go in the net, it's no goal. Because Utah tried to stop it going in and accidentally knocked it in themselves, it's a goal. I know, weird, right? The Mammoth press with 4.5 minutes left. There's a near miss for Schaefer on a rush. Horvat has a wraparound. That's denied. The Islanders call a timeout with 41.2 seconds left, and we're going to overtime. Every single game today went to overtime. All of them. The interesting part is we didn't get a 6-on-5 goal in any of them, right? No, I don't think so. No. Was there an overtime? Was there a 6-on-5 goal in the Nashville game? Anyways, doesn't matter. But these games were all destined to be tied. So Islanders control early in the overtime. Barzal has a wrister that's held. And then at 2:06, Schaefer becomes the youngest player in NHL history to get an overtime goal. He breaks the record. It was Crosby before this. He is days or months younger than Crosby was. Schaefer gets this one with a one-timer from the right circle. Barzal and Horvat with the assist. The Islanders with another win. This one in overtime as well. It's a 3-2 win over Utah. The Islanders are doing pretty well on this road trip. Shots on net favored Utah, 13-6 in the first and 10-7 in the second. Both teams had 6 shots in the third period, and then the Islanders had all 3 shots in the overtime. Final shots, 29-22 for Utah. Power plays, Islanders 0 for 4, Utah 1 for 6. The hits, 18-13 for the Islanders. Riddick, 27 saves on 29 shots, and Vejmelka, 19 saves on 22 shots at the other end. What did this do to the standings? With just the 4 games, it didn't change the standings a lot, but with that 1 point for Utah, they actually moved back into third spot. They are 10-7-1, 20 points in 18 games, 1 point ahead of Winnipeg, who do have the game in hand. Then everybody else in the West kind of stays in the same spot. Vancouver 8-9-2, 18 points in 19 games. St. Louis 16 points in 18 games now with the overtime loss. Nashville with the win, 6-9-4. They're now tied with St. Louis in points with 16, but St. Louis has played 1 less game. So Nashville pulls within 2 points of Vancouver and Minnesota with the win today as well. And they pull 4 points clear of Calgary, who are last overall. In the East, Carolina now 12-5, so now they're 1 point back of New Jersey, same amount of games played. Pittsburgh with the loss. In overtime, 22 points now in 18 games. The Islanders are now the number one wild card in the East, 10-6-2, 22 points in 18 games. They do not have the tie break on Pittsburgh. Philadelphia. I have not updated Philadelphia's record. All right, Philadelphia is 9-5-3. They have 21 points in 17 games. So 1 game in hand on Pittsburgh and 1 point back. It's Battle of Pennsylvania back. Detroit falls out of the playoffs. They're 10-7. The Rangers 9-7-2, 20 points in 18 games. Everybody else below that does not move. None of them played. Nothing changes there. So some minor changes to the standings, but Utah's back in the top 3, and the Islanders are above the playoff line. Really successful road trip, which does bode well for them going into tomorrow night's power rankings. So as I'm really hoping things kind of clear up at least a little bit to make it so that there aren't these wild swings in the power rankings. We really haven't seen that yet, but soon, maybe, over the next couple weeks. We'll see. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, as always. At the very least, now Buffalo find themselves 7 points out of the playoffs. So, yeah. Anyways, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, as always. Hit like and subscribe in the event you may not have done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support. It's greatly appreciated. I will talk to you again soon.